Not a ton of vital updates today, but I do have some new filings for you. I have a date and a reiteration of the PLA codes and what those mean for the stock price and actual sales of the Sapphire. We have some more marketing happening, some short interest data, and this is a little bit of old news. You've probably already heard about this, the PacBio acquisition. I want to talk about and make the case why that's actually very good for us, BNGO, believe it or not. And also we have a couple new job listings. We're going to go over those along with the technical analysis and the charts, of course, and an inverse head and shoulders pattern may be unfolding right now as we speak in the charts. And yes, that is a bullish chart pattern. And we're going to go over my portfolio, of course, starting with the I actually also want to reiterate what something the CEO said. Our CEO recently said there was not going to be any more offerings. In the presentation we had, this was last week or 2 weeks ago, he said, this is a quote, really long cash runway to execute this plan. We do not expect to be back in the market raising financing. That's according to the CEO. Now, my point here is that you don't know when this stock's going to take off based on news. You would think the CEO of a company who's one of the big risks, apparently, dilution, shares, more offerings, they're going to do more share offerings. The CEO has already said it's not going to happen, and the stock did not react whatsoever, right? Not at all. You don't know when the stock's going to react to news, so that's a whole nother deal that goes into this. Why not just get in and wait for the stock to go boom when we see so many fundamental increases in value objectively happening, yet the price does nothing? I mean, you guys see it. When we get no news, we go up, and when we get good news, we go down. That's like a pattern that we have, and we laugh about it, but it's so damn true. And the fact is, if these fundamental values, if this stuff keeps happening, there's nowhere the price can go but up overall. At the end of the day, the fundamentals increase. The stock has to follow eventually. That's as simple as it gets. People can ignore the true value, but once the numbers come out, once the earnings comes in, and once the CEO starts talking to everybody and taking questions and telling everybody what we've already known, like, hey, we're not going to do any more offerings. We already know this. Half the bears out there probably have they're in hibernation the last few days. I guess they're kind of coming out today, but they've been in hibernation for a couple of days now. Haven't seen a lot of them recently, but the point is that the stock doesn't react to news. Okay, so that's a quote from the CEO, and my whole point there is that maybe with this catalyst right here, this is not new news, but the proprietary laboratory analysis code here. If we go down to BNGO, this is coming October 1st, and not BNGO, Bionano. There we go. Okay. This is going to be effective October 1st, and this is going to be a good step, a step in the right direction for government reimbursements and insurance companies covering Sapphire's use in institutions and uses. So, is the price going to react to this on October 1st? We've already known about this. Practically, we already should be pricing this stuff in, but the price doesn't. The price actually doesn't. We see zero movement when this stuff is announced. So the fact is, get in before the price, before the fundamentals start shining through. That's my opinion. Now, is this the right? Are we going to moon tomorrow? Because this, I don't know. I can't predict it. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen. But what I will say is that long term, I really have gotten only more bullish on the company's fundamentals. That's as simple as it gets. Okay, so that's October 1st. The PLA codes are coming and going to be effective. All right, we got a couple new filings today. None of them that big, right? Institutional ownership is essentially the same. Now, I do want to do a little bit of damage control and kind of and put some water on the fire, if you will, because we'd seen two institutions sell out with red. Oh no, Brandon, no, win Lambo, win Moon, no, right? Two institutions selling out, like that's red lights, alarm bells ringing. If we look at the filing, right, they have 2,000 shares. I mean, I have more shares than that. It's like, what do you? So I wouldn't freak out about these whatsoever, right? You don't even have to know the premium data to know that the institutional ownership is essentially the same. So I wouldn't worry whatsoever about that. Now, the tweet today that we got was this doctor discussing how traditional cytogenetic testing methods, it hasn't changed for 50 years. It's about time to change this. We already knew this podcast, and this is just great. If you don't like Sapphire, if you don't like the technology, don't debunk what I say. Debunk what the PhDs say that recommend the Sapphire, right? Good luck with that, okay? Because you and I both know we don't understand everything there is about the technology. Even though we do, even though I've done a ton of reading, I've watched several hour-long presentations. Still, it's very esoteric. But if you get the basics, you can understand why so many of these doctors, like this guy, for example, for Alexander the Legend here, think there is a revolution on the horizon, and that's as simple as it gets, right? So also the short interest data, you're looking at 17% of the float currently sold short. This has decreased pretty dramatically, and it's about time that I tell everybody that it's still very high. The short squeeze is still very much possible if we were to get a nice catalyst, like I think, earnings, bull case happens on earnings, or in my opinion, even the likely case happens, like 3.8, 4 million-ish or higher than that, we're gone. We're gone. These guys are going to help us in that process a lot, and they're in a very vulnerable position if they're going to continue to hold or even increase their position in the short interest of the float before earnings. But nonetheless, it's decreased a lot since this was 22% a couple weeks ago, so that's something to know. It's decreased a lot, and there's about 1,000 extrapolations you can make of that, but I'm just going to leave it at this. There's still a possibility for the short squeeze if we're going to get a catalyst. Now, the PACB deal. This is interesting because this company that they're acquiring here, this is a short read sequencing company. They do, to my understanding, they do base pairs that are smaller than what long read sequencing does, shorter than the 500 base pairs, right? Bionano, greater than 500 base pairs. This crappy company in PACB, they do the smaller stuff, right? PACB tries to do the longer stuff with hi-fi. It doesn't work. We all know, everybody and their dog knows that PACB's hi-fi can't do shit compared to the Sapphire. That's common knowledge. That's common knowledge. Now, the fact is, these guys don't do long read sequencing. Like I said, that matters because this shows you that PACB is trying to invest money in what they're already good in. They're doubling down on their strengths, and maybe, of course, this is the this is the first part in a two-part plan to go short read and long read sequencing. But the fact is, based on our knowledge right now, they are not trying to disrupt what Bionano is doing at all, which is long read sequencing is what we kind of replace, or trying to, with the greater than 500 base pairs map OGM with Sapphire, right? That's what we do. They don't give a shit about that. So that's amazing to see that they're not really worried about what we do. They're trying to double down on their strengths. In a way, one extrapolation is where I think PACB is giving up, or not even giving up. They're strategically understanding that they don't have a chance in the realm that Bionano has already dominated, and they're getting out of there slowly. And they're starting to move and double down their strengths with acquisitions and focuses of their capital and cash and attention and effort and everything into more short read sequencing stuff. Okay, so that's what we have there. I think it's bullish news. And then we have the bioinformatics scientist job listing. Now, we've seen several of these. This one's new, posted 2 hours ago, right? They like to post the same listings like that, left and right. It's very confusing, and I don't know if this is LinkedIn's fault or Bionano keeps just deleting listings and then posting the exact same thing. I don't know, or I don't know. I really don't know. But anyways, they are still trying to hire people with next generation sequencing experience, and that's one of the responsibilities. They want to perform data mining analysis, integration of genomic data from Bionano, next generation sequencing, and other platforms. And you need to have experience with next generation sequencing and long read sequencing technologies, and that's evidence for nanoanalysis potentially right there. And it's good to see that we're still hiring people. So that's what I'll say for that. Now the head and shoulders pattern. Now the technical analysis, right? It's very simple. Okay, so inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's bullish. Now, what does it look like? Okay, let's go over what a head and shoulders looks like, right? So it looks something like this. Okay, there's the shoulder, left shoulder. There's the head, right shoulder. And then this is where the key is. Okay, it's kind of stay with me. This is the neckline. This is what we call the neckline. And once you break that, then the price target is the sum of the distance between the peak and the neckline, okay? And then your sell signal and short signal right there, okay? Right when you break that support. So if you do an inverse, what do you think it looks like? Well, it looks something like this, right? It's very simple, right? It's just the exact opposite. And then instead of going down on the breakout, you're going up, okay? And that's what you see. Then that's what we could be seeing. That's what we could be setting up here. Now you may be saying, Brandon, this isn't an inverse head and shoulders. Where's the right shoulder? Well, that's why it's a potential one. We have a huge. This one is much bigger, obviously. Maybe this is what we're going to be seeing. And then this is the breakout point, right? This would be the neckline, hypothetically, if this were to be an inverse head and shoulders. And then, boom, the price target is above $8 easily, right? Probably, what, $5.40 to $6.80. So that's about almost $9. That's like, yeah, that's above $8 price target. If this were to come to fruition, now you may see this price action. You may be like, well, Brandon, if this is true, if we're going to follow this kind of trajectory, we got to go up very soon and get back in this pattern because, we haven't really strayed much from these lines here very much. It's been a very picture-perfect inverse head and shoulders so far. Yes, and we would need to be hitting 680 in the next few days. And then we would need to be hitting roughly $6 or at the very least, somewhere in this range, 620 before making our next higher high and then breaking out of the neckline on our way to hit the price target. So a lot would need to happen for this, but right now that's what the chart is looking like. And if we look at the technicals, it's entirely possible, in my opinion, that we see that. And the reason why, look at the SAR. look at the Supertrend, the 4-hourly. These are like these might be my favorite indicators for looking at trends and seeing whether you're in bullish or bearish territory. So it's so damn simple, and it's so accurate as well. Screw the simplicity. Do the indicators work? How pragmatic are they, right? That's what you got to be when you're technical analysis. It's an art, not a science, but pragmatism, number one thing, right? If it works, use it. And the fact is, last time we got the flip here, we tested this almost, we didn't test this actually at once at all, really, but we got very close right there, very close right there, very close right there. And the fact is, we're still in bullish territory. And as long as we're in bullish territory in the Supertrend and the SAR, we have a chance at continuing that run-up. And there is evidence to say, right now, based on this, that we're still in bullish territory. Now, I would say we're still in short-term bullish territory. Mid-term to short-term, it depends on what your definitions are, mid-term, short-term. We're still below the 21 SMA. We're in bearish territory by that. But like short-term, the 4-hourly shows clearly we're in bullish territory, okay? We're making higher highs and higher lows overall in the last few days, and we're still in buy territory. We're not oversold, or we're not overbought in any way, right? Stochastic indicator bullish. Stochastic indicator, you're still in buy territory. In the RSI on the daily, you're way closer to being oversold and overbought. So I think we got a good chance of doing great things if high growth is going to give us the chance. That's the contingency. I know it sucks, but that's what it is. That's what it comes down to 9 times out of 10. Not 9 times out of 10, but like the biggest influence on the stock price for BNGO is the high growth sector. If the high growth, if nano dimension and microvision, if all of these stocks go green, then we're going to go green. If they go red, we're probably going to go red, right? But at the end of the day, I like our technicals a lot. I love that we bounced off 200 SMA. And with that being said, I am going to leave it with that. There is the portfolio. There's the account. Thank y'all so much. This is not finished advice. I will see y'all in the next one.